Hey out there. So we're back in the yoga room. That's Sarah finishing up her little routine. And what I'm going to do is show you how to get your pelvis moving in some common yoga moves. And what I'm doing here to start out with is just standing up tall and trying to feel the weight balance between the front and back of the foot and trying to align everything straight up and down. Getting the breathing online, seeing how the breathing feels first, trying to deepen it without forcing it to be deeper than it needs to be. Reaching up with the hands, trying to let the arms reach up with your shoulder blades instead of using your front of your shoulders, folding in half on the exhale. Letting your back round, letting the head drop, coming up to halfway position, reaching back through your fingertips. Pressing up through the back of your head, letting your hips drop a little bit, pushing down into the ground, sinking the hips into the sockets, and coming back up to standing. Feel how you're standing now after a little bit of that. Back bend here, keep breathing. If you have a camera in your room, look at your camera, make sure it's still working. Bend your knees a little bit. Bring your feet wider apart than the mat and then drop down. Try to keep your shoulders right on top of your hips, so don't let your back arch. And then see how it feels to reach your arms straight up, reaching with your shoulder blades, and then stand up again. Step back with your left leg. So as you reach back with that leg behind you, your pelvis is gonna try to roll into anterior rotation on the left. So you use your core to bring that pelvis back into, it's like you're just balancing it a little bit. So you're not allowing the back to arch totally. But that pelvis on the right side, on your standing leg in the front, that pelvis wants to dip under. So what you're doing is kind of trying to oppose the motion that your pelvis wants to do so that your body stays open, doesn't just clam up at the end of its ranges of motion. Bending in half, reaching through the fingertips. A little bit of strength in the mid-back. The back foot spins flat now. Setting up for Warrior 2. Arms reach straight ahead. Letting the weight sink into your front leg. And then drawing that right hip back into its socket. Making sure that you're paying attention to your breathing first and foremost. Looking out towards that right fingertip. Squeeze the palms and then release. Squeeze, exhale, and then inhale. This feels good to feel that contrast when your whole body's squeezing. Now, with your pelvis here, you can be opposing the motions. One side is, as it tries to tuck under naturally, you want to lengthen through that sit bone. But as with the other side, if that left pelvis wants to anteriorly rotate, try to gently tuck it under by pulling your core in. So we've got all these different degrees of freedom on the left and right sides of the body in this Warrior 2 Virabhadrasana B position. Shoulders roll back. Try to hook those arms onto the back and then lengthen through those fingertips. This one, my right wrist is looking a little lazy. So then when you get tired, just kind of straighten your leg up out of that and then go right back into it. Now setting up for triangle. So the back foot tilts in about 10 degrees, and then you lean your whole trunk towards the front right leg, reaching up with the left arm. Rotate your head and look up at that left hand. So what you're doing with the pelvis here is as your right pelvis tries to tuck under, keep that sit bone lengthening. And in opposition, the back leg, as we want to arch the back or anteriorly rotate that pelvis on the left. Use your core to just tuck it in slightly so that we're able to allow the breath to move the body and we're not jammed up in our joints. All right, then coming out of that triangle, both hands on the inside of the right foot. Lengthen back through your left leg. Let your weight drop down into your palms. Breathing. Drop the back knee. And then little low lunge here. Whoa, let's get our pelvis set first. Let's get our breathing set before we go any further with the arms. Hook those arms onto the back. So here, the tendency is to just jam ourselves further forward. What we can do is try to stay up a little taller, so we're able to, so as the pelvis wants to anteriorly rotate on the left, using that core to gently tilt the pelvis slightly underneath so we keep that balance. And then likewise with the right side, the pelvis naturally wants to tuck under. So all we have to do is kind of keep a little length in that right sit bone. And then set your arms down, retest that position, see how that feels to lift that back knee. Lengthen back into a nice plank to kind of reset the whole body. I like to activate the whole body in a plank when we're done with a stretch. And go for a push-up or 2 or 3. Inhale down, exhale up. Using the power of the breath. Pull those hips back into down dog. Feel that pelvis rotate on the femur so that we keep a straight line between the sit bones and the shoulders. Letting the head drop, activating by reaching through the arms. And that's basically it. So kind of sink into a little Virasana, sitting on the heels. For you cyclists and runners out there, this is a good position to kind of chill out, get a good stretch, a couple minutes a day. Open up the ankles, opening up the knees, feeling that pelvis be long underneath you, and feeling breathing in and out after a little bit of that physical work. And that's basically it. What you can do is drop me a line, check out my website, bodylistener.net, get in touch with me through there. Maybe I'll release the left side, but for now, just see how that feels on your right side. Coming into a little child's pose without collapsing, keeping the body long. I also like to use a bolster underneath my body here, or